Hi, I'm the Iron Tailor. I'm a costumer and steampunk maker. For the past 4 years, I've been sharing some of my projects through local classes and also through my blog, theirontailor.blogspot.com. There you'll find some detailed instructions and step-by-step pictures to walk you through the process of making these projects. I try to use a lot of recycled materials, very simple hand tools, and just basic skills. So these should be able to be done by pretty much anyone. What kind of projects am I making? Well, everything from goggles to medals to more complicated projects, things that light up, or maybe even a complete dive suit. Now obviously this project's going to take you a little longer than a single video, but it can be done with those same simple tools and basic skills. To try to spread the word a little bit more, I'm now starting a series of videos. So this is the first in what will hopefully be at least 300 videos, since that's how many projects are back on my blog, on how to make these various projects. Remember, if you ever get confused watching the video, you can always go to the blog, theirontailor.blogspot.com, and get those detailed instructions and detailed pictures. So take a look at the video and let's see what you can build. Hi, for today's project, I'm going to add something a little bit new to my dive suit. What I'd like to do is have this little octopus hand puppet kind of floating in front of me, because what I'm trying to do is come up with a really good photo opportunity shot. When I'm wandering around the convention and people turn that camera towards you, you strike your pose. And I'm having a little trouble developing one for the dive suit. So what I'm hoping to do is have this little fellow kind of floating around in front of me like this, and then I can be reaching towards him, and I can do a little street theater with him. In order to make that happen though, I'm gonna have to suspend him in front of me. And I don't want to be walking around all day long with this thing bobbing around in front of me. I'd like to be able to move it to the side when I'm not using it. So this may sound a little complicated, but all I'm really going to do is take a length of wire and rig up a little support for him. Unfortunately, with the dive suit, I have this real heavy belt, and that's going to give me my attachment point, so I can just have this pivoting from this side and swing the octopus over to this side when I'm not using it, swing it out in front of me when I am. So let's see what it's going to take to do this. The wire I'm using is a 9-gauge wire. Now when they talk about gauge on wire, the lower the number, the thicker the wire. It's the number of wires per inch is the way they calculate it. So a 9-inch is really stiff. It's going to be hard to cut. I'm using a big pair of pliers with wire cutters in them, or you can use a small pair of bolt cutters. I've cut a piece that I think is going to be about the right length, and now I just need to go in and start forming it and fitting. Okay, I've been fiddling with this wire for about 15 minutes. And this is the final shape that I came up with. If we look at the underside of our octopus, there's actually a space here that you can put your hand into. And what I'm doing is I'm going to use this loop to go into that spot, just like that. And that gives me the support. So he hangs there looking kind of like a good octopus should. I was going to play with the angle of it a little bit to see if I needed to cup him more to get that shape, but I'm actually kind of pleased with the way that looks. If I really wanted to get fancy, I could run other wires off of this, lighter ones that would go into the arms, and I could pose him and I could play with it. But I think I'm going to try him like this and see if it's worth putting any more effort into down the line. Now to keep him in place, I'm going to go ahead and use a couple of safety pins just to close the end of this little pocket. So I think everybody in my generation still has an old Sucrets tin that they keep filled with safety pins, so I'll pluck up the small ones out here. It's a steampunk project and I'm going to use brass. And those are just going to go in here. Again, they're probably never going to be seen by anybody, and this will make it easy to take this on and off, so I can move it around if I need to. There's one. I found that hand puppets like this really kind of a neat thing. You can get them in just about any animal you want, including some mythical ones. And you can mount them in a variety of ways. If you go to my blog, I've got a whole lineup called shoulder companions where I've mounted a bunch of these guys. Everything from a Cthulhu puppet to a small pterodactyl are set up on a little shoulder mount. So that's a fun project to look at. Okay, so there he's mounted. I'm shaking him pretty hard just to make sure he doesn't come off. Sometimes life on the convention floor can get pretty exciting. Now the remaining shape here is I've just dipped the wire down and then back up, so he does kind of look like he's floating there. And then this end just has a straight shot down. It's going to fit into the belt, so I'm going to move the camera around a little so you can see me mount. Okay, here we are on a close-up of the dive belt, and here's our trusty little octopus. And the way this belt works, this is a belt that I cut down from a weightlifting belt, so it's very heavy duty. There's an overlap here that makes a natural little pocket here for the wire. So I've carefully filed down the edge of the wire so it isn't sharp. And I should be able to work it into that slot. Okay, it's going a lot easier this time because this is about the third time I've done this. Okay, and that settles in there just right. So now you're really not seeing it. So when he's out here and ready for his pictures, it's going to be here, but the rest of the shaping is so that when I'm not using him, he swings over here to the side. And I should just be able to drop my arm over him and he'll be in place. He's not sticking out, nobody's going to run into him. Should work kind of nice. When I want him there, I just give him a little push, and you see the wire disappears from your viewpoint, so anybody taking a picture from the front will just see him there. I can reach in with my hands like I'm going to grab him or we're going to do something. I could make him dance. Whatever it'll be, I'll work on that theater once we hit the convention floor. I wanted to go back to the longer shot just so you could see what this would look like for the average person coming towards me at a convention. So I can have him tucked away. I don't think the wire is all that noticeable at that point, but when you swing it out, again, his legs, the shape of it, all block that wire, and now he's kind of floating in front of me. In fact, I could nudge this a little bit with my forearm to make it look like he's moving more. And again, my hands are both free. That's a very nice thing when we're at these events, is not to have my hands tied up with a big gun or a piece of equipment or something. I can still do some interaction with it and then easily swing him out of the way when he's not needed. So I'm going to call this a success. This really didn't seem like that much of a project, but again, it's pulling the pieces together. I had this little guy that I picked up at another convention. I'm always looking for pieces that I can either use to improve projects or to create new projects around. And this wasn't how I intended to use him. I was going to stick him on the helmet or around. Didn't quite work out right. This I'm a little more pleased with, but remember, 2 safety pins come off. I can move them anywhere I want in this outfit. So we'll see how it goes next time I run this. I am going to try to put the whole suit together with all the improvements I've done, and hopefully we'll get some video at WonderCon, and we'll show you what that suit looks like. So look for that in a future video.